Hi everyone, it's Mark from Mobilities again, and now I'm going to demonstrate the SmartDrive MX2. So recently, I got a new chair, and I wanted to try a different drive system. In the previous video, I showed you the Emotion M15 wheels that were on my old chair. And I wanted to demonstrate a different system, which really isn't a power assist on the rim. It's more of a drive system that connects on the back. So you can see this little guy right here is the actual unit. Now, the way the SmartDrive works is it's more of a cruise control. So it's a completely different kind of thought process to a power assist, which can be a little hard for a quad, and it's something that I experienced in the first couple months that I used it. So if you think about the emotions and how they work, really you're pushing the rim and you're getting a little bit of additional assistance. But after a certain period it stops. At level 1, it was going a certain speed. At level 2, it went a lot farther, but it stops. With this particular unit, when you start it, it keeps going. And depending on how hard you push, it goes faster. So it's, I call it a kind of progressive cruise control system, which probably isn't accurate, but you get the idea. You start it, it keeps going. Now, the way this unit works is it works with Bluetooth technology. So the SmartDrive is going to come with this wristband, at least the second version. And what you do is, you turn this guy on, and it's going to communicate with that drive unit in the back. Now, once engaged and turned on, it'll vibrate. That means it's paired with it. And then I would go ahead and start the unit. When I want to stop the unit, you just have to hit the side of your wheel. You really could just hit the side of your body. It has a little accelerometer, or a gyroscope, maybe both, that once it feels that kind of friction against it, it's going to kill the motor. And you'll see a little beep that will show and does that. There's a whole bunch of beeps that I haven't still figured out yet, but they're commands. But more or less, you push to start it, you hit it to stop it. Now, I like to do a comparison, and this is why I showed you the emotions first, because as a quad, there's a lot of things that I'm not super happy about with having this particular unit, and I'll explain those. So first of all, there's no what I call kind of assist in small areas without having to be concerned about stopping it. So what they recommend is to turn the SmartDrive off. Well, if that's the case, then that means in small, close quarters, I don't have any assist. I now have to push back, forwards, turn, in all those small situations. Now, one of the biggest advantages to having the emotions was being able to push through a door. Well, even with this on, unless I get a running start and plow through a door, which isn't the best thing because there might be someone on the other side of it, it's really hard. I have to do it all manual again, and now I'm hurting my shoulder trying to turn, push through, elbow out, push through, depending on which way the door opens. So that was a big negative to me as a quad at my level. The other thing is it doesn't power backwards. So if you have it on, you can't go backwards, which may not be a big deal to some people. I just liked it if I was in a kind of a tight spot. I could kind of roll out, I could turn. So that's one other thing. Also, it doesn't slow you down when you're going down a hill. So with the emotions, you're able to brake, and you don't have to grab it. You can just kind of push your hands on it, and by that slowing it down, it's going to slow the chair down. This has an anti-roll feature, but it's not the same thing. That's if you're going backwards down a hill. But if you're going, going down frontwards, that's a word. If you're going down a hill, it's not going to stop you. So you actually want to turn it off, because if you're going and you put your hands on there and it thinks that you want to go that speed, it's going to take you up to 6 miles an hour down a hill. Very dangerous. So they recommend that you turn it off going down hills. That's another thing. I can't really hold my wheels and stop it. So that's very hard, and that was a downside as well. The unit is good for portability. I agree about that. So if you want this to be a very manual chair, you can go ahead and take this off. Now, the people in the video, who I think are, most likely someone with more upper body strength, maybe a paraplegic in the T level, they can actually grab it and pull it off and take it and put it in their car or wherever else. I can't do that. It's 13 pounds. Even if I was right in front of it, it's 13 pounds, it would be hard for me to lift it up off the bracket and get it off. I can do it, but it's not easy, and that's one of the concerns that I have. Is for a lot of things that I do, I like to be able to do them in worst case scenarios, rain, I'm tired, spasms are bad, just legs won't stay on the foot plate, they're flipping out. I want to be able to do those kind of things. So this is another reason why I was, a red flag to me for my level of injury. So in terms of how long you get to use the SmartDrive between charges, I would say it's probably about 2 days, depending on how much you roll. It says in the manual you're supposed to charge it every day, because that's typically when people run it out, but I'm not going miles and miles and miles. But that's what this unit's good for, because if you're on grass or carpet, like say you're at a casino, you turn this thing on and you can just sit there, hold your drink, hold your bag, whatever you have, and it keeps rolling, and that is a nice feature. But for me, it's not really what I need the most, if that makes sense. So the other downside about turning this off, I spoke about earlier about going in a manual that you don't have the power assist. You now have a 13-pound tractor tire in the back. So usually you're in your manual chair, you roll, you don't feel anything. But with this thing, you feel it. It's got the tractor wheel. So now I'm pushing this, which most people would say, okay, well, just take it off. Okay, that's fine. But now I have to get out of my chair and do it, or have someone help take it off, and then hopefully have them put it back before I leave for the day, because I'm relying on this to get into my minivan. I'm relying to get up hills, all these other things. So it's another concern that I noticed when I was using the unit. So let's go ahead and try it out, because I want to show you how it works, because it's pretty sweet. Other than all the things I just said about it that I thought were not good for me. So I'm going to go ahead and just press this little button. It's going to power the unit up. You hear a little beep. Well, you can't really hear it, but essentially it has this little blue light which tells me it's engaged. So I'm going to turn around just so I have some room to go. And you're going to see the unit engage when I push. So if you want to keep it continuous, you just have to make sure that you can kind of hold the rim, and I can kind of hold it, but you can see it's not easy. I don't recommend putting your hand against it. I don't think you could use no fist with quad cuffs. I mean, you can see me do it, but it really burns my wrist doing it. So again, if you want to stop, you hit, and it kills it. You still kind of have to grab it because it's going to keep going. So that's the other thing too, the momentum of it. You may be able to kill the motor, but the wheels are still going to turn. And you have that, you have to stop the wheels, whatever the chair, how heavy it is, and the force. Whereas with the emotions, you're able to grab it and stop it pretty quick, because it's going to react to that. When you push and stop, it's going to go forward, meaning you're in reverse, and it's going to try and stop it. So this is a little different. This unit to me is probably good for someone who's a paraplegic level, because they potentially will have full hand function, upper body, their core. They can sit up straight and do things. When they're shopping, they could be rolling and grabbing stuff off the shelves. Stuff that I can't do. Stuff that I would have to be stopped and doing, and grabbing and reaching and positioning myself so I don't fall over. All those kind of things. So it's a great unit for what it does. And I'm probably, I'm not the spokesperson to promote this unit for my level of injury. But I can see the benefits of it, but for me, it just doesn't work. So I'm probably going to try and return it or sell it, just so that I can look for a different option, maybe a newer emotion or something else that's out there. But for me, this just really isn't the choice. But I wanted to show you anyway, because I've had it, and I think it's pretty cool technology, and a lot of people may be able to use it. It's just not going to work for me. Let me try it here. So you can see it gives pretty good power, but because I have to push in order to increase the speed, and I can't push that fast, I don't get going that fast. And that's probably a good thing, but just so you know, it's not going to give you that extra boost that you can change on the emotions, versus this is as hard as you can push is how fast it's going to go. Up to, I think, 6 miles an hour, which as a quad, it'd be hard to do that unless you're going downhill. 6 miles an hour is really, really fast. So in closing, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe to the Abilities channel. We're going to be posting more videos. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter. And keep working hard to become independent. And if you have any comments or questions, leave them on the video or send me an email. I hope to talk to you soon. Take care.